Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Your Turn with Cliff Woodards here at WHPR TV Comcast 91. And you can watch us across the internet now at Roku device, or if you have a cell phone or a tablet, just search for in your app store the app called WHPR Now. Download it to your tablet or your cell phone. Take us along with you wherever you would travel. However, hopefully, I don't think you're out anywhere today. Today is Saturday, April 14th. If you are venturing out, you probably will need a small canoe, a lifeboat, a raft, or maybe even an ark. The rain is still coming down. I looked at the forecast before I left, and it's going to rain from now all the way through the end of tomorrow night. So sit back, relax, be cozy, put a nice fluffy robe on, watch the show, and let us know what you think about the topics we'll discuss today. Detroit Law Center is the sponsor for Your Turn with Cliff Woodards. As always, give the Detroit Law Center a call, 313-333-4975 for criminal, family, civil, bankruptcy, and personal injury. Give the Detroit Law Center a call. Once again, 313-333-4975. Glad to be here with you on this rainy, kind of cold Saturday afternoon. We had a little taste of spring on Thursday. The weather got up to about 73 degrees. And, you know, people can't wait. How many convertibles did you see with their tops down on Thursday? Motorcycles came out. Those people look like they just got a peek, almost like the groundhog sticking their head up out of the hole on Groundhog's Day to take a look around. That's exactly what those folks did all day Thursday. I haven't seen a convertible with the top down since, nor another motorcycle. The weather in Michigan being that what it is. If you'd like to participate in today's phone discussion, once again, 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Just want to let you know, too, that I had a great time. I want to thank the Angels for coming out. There was a long list of people. I had a pre-birthday celebration yesterday, Friday, April 13th, over at Demi's on 7 Mile and Telegraph. Tamara, Trina, and Michelle came through. Andre Ash, my former producer, was there along with, in fact, let me see if I can visually remember all the people that I want to thank. Ron Johnson, Tamiko Joy Ball, Dana Harper, Tasha Lino, behind Aisha Williams. I should have written a list down. Shirley Radden, along with Karen Braxton, Brandy Taylor, Tony, Brandy's mother, Pam, Wyatt Harris, Eleanor, his wife, Harold Collins, Michael Lamb, Katoya Campbell, Eric, who else was there? There were so many people. Gina Jackson, Carrie Jackson. There were so many folks that came through. My best friend in life for the last 30 years, Anita Starks, Lexi and her mother, my godmother, Mrs. Starks, was there as well. If I'm missing somebody, they will pop into my head shortly. But I want to make sure that I thank everybody. Cora Durham, who came from pretrial services in court, was there as well. But I want to thank all of the people. Felicia Tyler, her sister Belinda, was there too. And people who stopped by. Steve Hood, can't forget about him as well. He was there. Donald Glover was the first one that showed up. Today is actually my birthday. That being April 14th, I turn 28 again, times 2. But today I turn 56. I think the actual time is sometime around 8 o'clock this evening when the official birthday starts. But want to say thank you to all of you who came out. We raised money for Forgotten Harvest. I think we have well over $200 in some canned goods that I'm going to be getting over to Forgotten Harvest at the first of the week. But I want to say, again, thank you to all of the friends that came out to acknowledge the birthday celebration. I really appreciate that. And so that's enough about me. You know, I really try not to make this show about me. That's why it's called Your Turn with Cliff Woodards. What I chose to talk about today and make sure that you get your thoughts into, everyone for the last 48 hours has been talking about the young man in Rochester Hills who actually got shot by Jeffrey Ziegler, or almost got shot by Jeffrey Ziegler. His name was Brennan Walker. He was 14 years old. He was walking, trying to find his way to Rochester High School when Jeffrey Ziegler uh, came downstairs after his wife had called 911 and said, "Why are you trying to break in the house?" Her husband came downstairs with a shotgun. I see a call on the line. I'm going to get to you shortly. Let me set this up. And came downstairs, went outside, chased after Brennan into his yard, fired a shot. It did not take, thank God. And yesterday he was charged with assault with intent. I think it was assault with intent to murder. Let me just double check that. Yes, assault with intent to murder and felony firearm. What are your thoughts on that? The NAACP weighed in. A lot of people have spoken out about that. It brings back reminders of Renisha McBride in Dearborn Heights a couple of years back when she was killed on the porch, although that was at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Brennan Walker was out early in the morning during broad daylight. What does that say about the perception of black people in white America? And before I put my 2 cents in it, I've always said that the eastern suburbs are way more racist than the western suburbs. Blatantly, outwardly racist, let me say that. Uh, the mindset of folk in Rochester Hills. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351 will develop and broaden this discussion as the hour progresses. But let me get to the first caller and let me hear what you have to say. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Who did you say 911?
You're breaking up something bad. I can't really hear you.
Did you say wife called 911?
I think you said, did the wife call 911?
Yes.
Say that again?
You said that the wife 911 when was on her porch?
Yes, the wife did.
Well, the news reported that way. They said the young man called 911 after he was shot at.
Okay.
Okay, where's the eye candy at today?
Okay, say that again. I'm sorry, I can't really hear you.
Where are the girls today?
Where are the girls? They partied too much last night with me. You should have been at the party.
Right. Should have told me.
All right, thanks a lot. We appreciate that. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. You know, it's interesting. I'm going to make sure that I tell them that people are still calling, asking me where they are during this hour rather than calling about my show. But I'll make sure I pass along that message that they are missed and they are my backup crew whenever I'm not here. But what are your thoughts as it relates to the shooting in Rochester Hills? As I said, thank God that young Mr. Walker was not injured in that. Jeffrey Ziegler has been charged with attempted murder as well as felony firearm. Your perceptions on where we are in society. Let's take the next call. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards.
Did you say it was your birthday? It's your Earth Day?
I did say it was my birthday.
All right. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Saturday.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And it seems like we have to constantly educate our young and our old heads that it does not matter if you have a PhD or a hoodie, you're still considered less than a human being. And it doesn't matter the zip code that you live in. You could still be pulled over and treated like dirt. And so I just don't understand why we're not educating ourselves, our old heads as well as the young, you have to walk dang near on eggshells to make sure that you ain't in one of those, remember, Cliff, they used to call it sundown city. Now it don't matter if the sun up or down.
Mm-hmm.
You better watch. You got to watch and be careful because of people's hatred towards you and their profiling against you. So the more things
You
change,
know,
the
well,
more
you
they
know,
say the same.
hang on just a second. What I'm thinking, and I know the mother called out wanting it to be a hate crime, but a hate crime is really a strong label to assess with that. And perhaps that's why the Oakland prosecutor's office didn't charge a hate crime. Let me ask you this, and this is for the rest of the callers too. Is it a hate crime because you have a misperception?
Um, you know what? When you're being profiled and labeled, to me, that's already a hate crime. Now, had that been a little white boy or a white girl, do you think they would have been calling the emergency or 911 and coming to the door with a gun? We're being profiled for nothing.
Now I
And
get
to
you.
me,
Now
yeah, it should be a hate crime because if I'm going to be profiled and beat, tagged, hung, target practice, murdered,
but is
because what?
there? Hang on,
But
but
then
is
if I'm
there?
another race, if I'm an Arab or really white or whatever,
But let me
you
ask
know,
this
you
question.
see them doing all kind of crazy stuff,
Hang on, just
and they don't
can
even
you hear
get
me?
paid.
Can you hear me for a second? Just
Okay.
let me ask this though. Again, is there a difference between hate and a misperception? Where I'm
Mm,
going with that is we assume that Mexican people love tacos.
mm-hmm.
Now, is that always true? I don't
Mm.
know. But I have that misperception. You probably have that misperception. All Chinese people love rice. And of course, they'll say about black people, what do they say about us? All of us love fried chicken.
Soul food.
Yes, yes. My sister hates sweet potato pie.
Mm.
I don't know if she's really my biological sister or not. Because everybody else in my family, me and my parents, we will tear up some sweet potato pie, but my sister hates it. But the thing that where I'm going with that is it really hate or years of built up profiling based on what you assume?
Okay, I'm going to say it like this. I perceive it as a hate crime when your actions behind the misconception and the misunderstanding causes bodily harm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's how I'm going to describe it as a hate crime.
All right.
When their misperception and their misunderstanding causes the action of hostile actions towards the person where they're causing them harm mentally and physically.
Okay. Let me take
Okay,
some more
thank you.
calls. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
All right. Bye-bye. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards.
Good afternoon, Cliff.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
This is an excellent topic, and I'm having a little problem with this little cell phone
Mm-hmm.
with the echo coming back. But in answer to your question, I feel that we have some responsibility in this misconception of profiling. I have no tolerance for these rappers at all. None at all. I think they should be banned. That they are giving a false image of us, and people who are not aware that it's a false image are using that in the instance that you're talking about, those type of situations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through an experience right now where, I can't really discuss it, a court case, but they're using words that I have never used in my life in transcript to say that I answered something. I don't even know how to spell or yeah, Y-E-A-H. I do know how to spell that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a misconception that's going on. Also, I feel that the government has some responsibility in this. one of the hosts on WHPR mentioned that like 83%, I believe he said, of whites are resentful of blacks, dislike blacks, and that 60-something% of immigrants dislike blacks. Is it possible that the government gives them a package, immigrant to citizenship package, explaining how to treat us as the people, what they expect of us, and those type of situations? So it's all intertwined together.
Okay.
It's not really just I have the correct understanding or someone else. All of this is becoming a part of our consciousness.
Right. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Stay warm and dry, okay?
Okay.
All right, bye-bye. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. If you want to join this discussion, we're talking about the tragic shooting in Rochester Hills. Fortunately, Brennan Walker was not injured in that shooting. Jerry Ziegler is charged with assault with intent to murder along with felony firearm. He had a prior conviction for felonious assault some years back and some weapons charges too. It's interesting to note that he is a retired Detroit firefighter, which means at one point in time he had to live in the city of Detroit. He moved out to Rochester Hills. I can tell you my own experience. I'm going to get to the phone lines in just a second. Hang on. But I can tell you my own personal experience with Rochester Hills. Several years ago, this was probably now almost 30 years ago, 28, 29 years ago. I was dating a Caucasian woman at the time. And we were at the village of Rochester Hills, just walking in that shopping plaza there. And I can't tell you the hateful looks that I received, that she received, the mumblings that went on as we passed. And I have never felt so uncomfortable in my life than I did in Rochester Hills that Saturday evening. I have always thought, and again, maybe this is my own misperception, but I've always thought that Rochester Hills was pretty much a racist city, or individuals who lived there had racist feelings. Someone told me earlier today when I was prepping for the show, I did not see this on the air, so if I need correcting, fine, but they had said that the reason why Brennan Walker went to that residence was because it had a neighborhood watch sticker on the window and he felt safe. If that is true, one of the things that I thought about that was that the neighborhood watch sticker doesn't really say that this is a safe house to go to. Typically, folk who put those stickers there already have a heightened sense of alarm about the safety of their own neighborhood. And in Rochester Hills, which is an upscale community, I already drove through there on Google Maps and looked at the street where where this shooting happened. And it's a nice subdivision, and I have no basis for making this statement that's grounded in any fact, but I'll almost bet that the reason that the neighborhood watch stickers were there on this house and maybe some other ones in the community was because some black folk had begun to move in. Now, I could be dead wrong with respect to that, but that is a thought that I have with respect to that. And the thought processes that were going on in the shooter's mind and his wife's mind was probably a concern of the black people that may have moved in that neighborhood. I don't know if Brennan Walker and his mother were the only black residents in that subdivision. I can't say that. I don't know. But I'm sure that there was some concern about that. But is it really a hate crime when you have that misperception about black people? And let me ask this. When you see young black men walking up and down the neighborhood where you live at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, does that give you cause for alarm? Why aren't they in school? Are they looking to break into somebody's house during the middle of the day when no one is gone? I have to admit that when I leave for work, there have been times when I have seen young black men walking down the street on my block, and I have actually gone around the corner and come back just to see where they were going. Now, does that say that I've racially profiled my own? Or am I just being careful based on statistics and things that I see in my neighborhood? 313-868-4336, 868-0342, 868-0351. Let's get back to the phone lines. Good afternoon. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards.
My brother.
Is this Minister Malik Shabazz?
It is your long lost, forgotten prayer.
So wait, hold on. Watch this. Forgotten. 313-646-3375. Now.
Okay, maybe not forgotten.
and I called you. About 3 weeks ago, and you ain't called me back. I gets no love no more. I'm so hurt. RJ, take us out to break. Sorry.
Well, we got to catch up.
What you say, Minister?
I said we got to catch up.
We do.
But you got a great subject today. This white gentleman is caught up, as white folks have been globally, and the world has been, on the disinformation campaign that has been ran against us for centuries. That we are just naturally coming out the womb violent, evil, shiftless, lazy, up to no good. Let us not forget, during our centuries of chattel enslavement, where a horse had more rights or more humanity, and the horse had more humanity than we did, that they called it a disease for enslaved people who wanted to escape, that it was actually a disease. See, crime is everywhere. Whoever is shooting off chemical weapons in Syria, the different elements that are over there in Syria, mischief making and keeping the violence and all that's going on, crime is everywhere, and it is universal. Now, unfortunately, much of our crime that we are involved in, from my vantage point, it is psychological, it is subconscious, going to Dr. Bobby Hemmett, menticide and historicide, and it's also socio-economic. It's almost like Pavlov's experiments with mice and rats and whatnot, and all of the circumstances where we live are controlled by outside forces, are literally almost programmed into criminality. Now, I'm not making excuses. We still got to fight. We still bear responsibility to come on up out of this and to do better and to create the economic and educational opportunities for our children. But we need to know what happened. What happened to us? How did we come to such a pass that the descendants of the seed people on this planet, the greatest people who ever existed, are now in a triggerized, self-hating, almost like on remote control. We need to place the blame where it belongs, and it ain't with us, but the solution is with us. And we got to love each other.
Okay. Answer my question, though, in terms of when I said, when I leave my block sometimes. Has that ever happened to you, Minister, where you're at? Do you ever get concerned when you see people? In fact, I'll just be more specific. If you see some young brothers walking up and down the street during the middle of the day, you've not seen them before. It might be 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. You're leaving out to take care of your business, go to work, whatever you're going to do. And you might be concerned that they may be up to no good when all the rest of the people are gone to work as well. Have you thought that as you were passing them by?
Unfortunately, yes, I have.
Hmm. And so,
And I have been miseducated along with everyone else on this planet. All of us have been miseducated.
and
If
that's,
we dropped out in the ninth grade or if we got 5 degrees,
yeah.
when I say all, I literally mean everyone on earth. And yes, I have thought it. Yes, I have gone around the block to check and to see. But I do thank God for the increase. I mean, I'm blessed, and I give all the glory to JC, and only the mistakes belong to me. But what usually bails me out is that my face is kind of known
And you know what else too, Minister?
a little bit.
And what else I just thought about as well. I'm going to get to the other callers in a second. What's even more pronounced, and watch you laugh about this one, about, I'll probably say about 7 or 8 years ago. Let's go back that far. When you started noticing white folk in your neighborhood, you like, wait, what are they doing here? Well, you know, all of a sudden, that when that gentrification started trickling in about 8 to 10 years ago, you're like, wait a minute, what? White folks walking dogs on the block? Real? Where they come from? So
I
if
tell you,
we
Cliff,
have
you
that,
know what amazed me?
what's that?
And see, I believe anyone who wants to live in Detroit, work in Detroit, play in Detroit, build in Detroit should feel free, whatever their color or whatever it is. However, when I did begin to notice that maybe around 8, 9 years ago, you're right. I noticed how they're jogging and walking dogs and don't seem concerned about anything. And then I thought about our great-grandmothers, 89, 92, 84, being assaulted. That's what I thought of.
Right.
How is it that for the most part, not totally, they're walking up and down the street, they worried about a thing. They got a care in the world.
And
our elders and our women and our children are being shot and guerrilla stomped. That is the what I know of.
And you're right, and it's almost a mirror image with the exception of our young people being shot. But we will look with a raised eyebrow and curiosity and maybe even some suspicion when we see white people moving into our neighborhoods, walking up and down the street without a care in the world. But when you go out to the outer ring suburbs, which is like where Rochester Hills is, black people are the ones who finally feel they can walk up and down the street, walk their dog without fear, and not have a care in the world because they're in Rochester Hills. But the white folk who live there are peeping out the blinds like, what's that? What's that black person doing out there? No, Lord, what's it? You know, and see, so we both have these misperceptions about each other.
True.
And, you know, we aren't going to go and take out a gun and shoot that black person we saw that we came around the block to take a look at, nor will we shoot the white people that come up on the door and say, you know, do you know where such and such is? That's not necessarily how we're built. But with the years of racism that has been instilled in a lot of individuals, white brothers and sisters, they have fled the city 25 years ago to those white enclaves. They then are continuously fed by the media what black men are like and how dangerous they are. And so when then they see them begin to move into the neighborhood, I want to say it's more fear than it is hate.
I don't know, my brother. I think they go hand in hand. Hate is taught. I have seen baby multicultural in playpens, no problem. And then when them babies grow up, 10, 9, 12, whatever, something happens. And I'm not saying in all instances, and certainly there are some white folks out here who are really working, some who are not enough, who are really working hard to become human beings and to behave like human beings, and clearly too few, not enough of us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think hate and the fear, it goes alongside, they always criminalized us. Even during our enslavement, we were disproportionately incarcerated. And it continues on now, but I know you don't have a lot of time.
Right.
But the only weapon I think we got is love.
Okay.
The weapon of love. You fight hate through love.
Okay.
And love in action. And that's really all I got to give, man.
I'm going to call you later on today, House Keela.
She's good. Call me tomorrow, Cliff. But
Tomorrow?
Listen, let me get my announcement out real quick. Can
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Tonight, 6 p.m. at Wayne State University at 42 West Warren, there's going to be the premiere of a documentary called Community Control. This was made by some brothers, by other mothers out of Utah who came here to Detroit. Detroit has been being covered, all kinds of documentaries the last 10 years or so. This documentary, Community Patrol, my understanding is it features us very heavily.
Okay. That's at 6 o'clock tonight at Wayne State. Where at Wayne State?
I don't know the name of the building, but the address is 42 West Warren, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. tonight.
Got it. Minister, always a pleasure. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Talk tomorrow, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, peace now. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You're listening, and we're just past the bottom of the hour, but once again, I've got to remind you, too, that you are watching Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards here on Comcast 91, WHPR, TV 33. We're on the internet at TV33. WHPR.com. You can catch us on Roku by downloading the WHPR app to your Roku box. We're on Digital TV 33. And if you have to travel, just look for that WHPR Now app on your app store or in your app store. Download it to your tablet or your cell phone. Take us along with you wherever you may travel. Once again, the call-in number is 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Have a very interesting discussion going on right now. Without further ado, let's get back to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards. Caller.
Hello, Cliff.
Yes, how are you?
Yes, quickly. I'm calling back because something else crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Joanne Watts had interviewed Dr. Claude Anderson, I believe it was this week, and he was stating how Detroit has been cited as a city that's going to be heavily populated with Chinese, Arabs, and several other nationalities, immigrants coming into the city. But I thought about that in sorting through some old papers of mine. I have an extensive library. And in that, I had a little pamphlet that someone had sent me, about 3 by 5, about 5 or 6 sheets. And it was one paragraph being translated in about 10 or 12 languages. It showed English, German, for some of the other names, Mexican, and it made me think that we don't have that too far off from us, that we will not only be looking at English, but with all these immigrants coming into the country, we're going to have all different languages being presented to us.
All right.
Also,
all right.
Something to think about.
Okay. Thank you for that. All right. Bye-bye. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards.
Hi, Cliff. I'm enjoying your program.
Thank you very much.
I have a few questions to ask.
Sure.
Okay, about that incident out in Rochester Hills. Okay. Did the young man live in Rochester Hills, or was he being bused to Rochester Hills?
It's my understanding that he lives in Rochester Hills. I've not heard anyone say that he was bused there, but it's my understanding that he lived there.
Okay. How old was this young man?
14.
14. He didn't have a cell phone?
His mother had taken his cell phone because he had done something. What that was hasn't been revealed that I am aware of, but she had taken the cell phone away as punishment. So when he woke up that morning, he didn't have a way to contact anyone by phone.
And he didn't know the way to school. How
You know,
you know how long he had been
You
going
know,
to that
it's
school?
so interesting, ma'am, that you said that because I was going to write on Facebook about that today because I talked one of my good friends, her name is Carmen. We had an hour discussion about that this morning because what bothered me for the longest was he was 14 and I was thinking, okay, when I was 14, and that was, 100 years ago, back in 1976, um, I knew how to get to school. Now understanding it was a lot easier to get to Cass than it was to get to Rochester High, which is on Livernois in Rochester Hills. But I'm thinking, okay, if he's gone to um, Rochester Hills since January, that would be almost 4 months of riding the bus. If been enrolled since September, that's what? About 8 months of riding the bus to school. I had the same thought. He doesn't know how to get there. He didn't watch which way the bus went the entire time. Now, it is 3.4 miles from where he lives to, I'm sorry, from where the bus picks him up. The bus picked him up at Hamlin Road and Adams Road. And from that distance to Rochester High School is about 3.4 miles. So that's kind of a stretch to walk. And I don't need all of my seniors calling in saying, I used to walk 10 miles to school with no shoes on, with 8 inches of snow on. Nah, say that. I don't want to hear it. But about 3.5 miles to walk to school is quite a hike.
Right. Now let me ask this as well, because I haven't really heard this.
Hmm.
Were there any is there any commercial areas there rather than knocking on a residence? Normally I would go to a gas station or a convenience store, but maybe they don't have that out in Rochester Hills. And it's not as prevalent as in Detroit.
Yeah, there were. I think about a block away, he would have exited that subdivision and he would have been out on Adams Road, where he would have been able to, stop at any commercial establishment.
But he is a young man and probably not thinking.
Yeah.
Those were just some of the things that. And another thing I didn't understand, they said that when the retired Detroit fireman fired his weapon, that there was a safety on the weapon, and then I didn't understand if there was a safety on the weapon, how could he shoot the weapon, or did he shoot?
From what I read in the news reports, the safety was on first. He took the safety off and then he fired.
Right. So he was just definitely wrong there. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is leaving, and so there's no reason for him to. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Enjoying
Thank
your
you for
program.
calling. All right. Have a great afternoon. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodard.
Yes. This is Belinda. Okay, my phone is echoing. Today is your birthday?
It is.
Okay, happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
Okay, now. Okay, my phone is echoing, so let me say this here. I'm upset as to what I've been hearing so far. Okay, now this young man takes a bus to school. A walking route and a bus route is two different things. Because, they go and they pick up children from other areas.
Of course, right.
Okay, now, if anything, his wife should be charged too. She's the one that initiated all of this. She's the one that said that he was going to break in. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she said, "Why are you people or we people or whatever?"
You can't
Because
charge
remember,
anybody.
his mother said it was only him by himself.
You can't charge anybody for saying you people.
No, no, no. But that's not what I said to you. She initiated this because remember, her husband heard her hollering, right?
Okay.
And she was asking him, why was he breaking in? Am I correct?
I don't know if she actually said, "Why are you breaking in?"
Yes,
Um,
that's what he stated. And see, his mother also said, why would she say what she said when it was only him at the door? Okay? Now, the other issue with the situation is, when they first showed it, when they first aired it, they aired the beginning of the complex. But when they finally showed the inside, it didn't look that spectacular to me.
what did?
Okay, but this man ran out. You know, I can't hear you because of my phone echoing, so I hope I'm not talking over you. Okay, but this man ran out of his condo. It could have been out of his house or out of his garage with this rifle. And when it didn't go off, he disengaged it where it could go off. Now, as far as the last caller was saying about the stores and everything, like I said, I don't know if people ever had children who ever rode the bus and how they go into different neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It would take him to a place where he didn't know where he was at. Can you hear me, Cliff?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't.
You know,
I don't necessarily agree with that.
you don't?
No,
Mm-hmm.
because I rode the bus from the time I was 5 until 12. I went to a school called Roper. A lot of you've heard of Roper, up in Bloomfield Hills. And that bus picked us up at on North Lawn between right by Marygrove College,
Mm-hmm.
right up there near 6 Mile in Wyoming. And when I was 12 years old, I could have driven that bus from Marygrove all the way out to Bloomfield Hills because you kind of it goes the same way every single day. So even as a kid, in even with you talking occasionally and maybe playing or whatever, you know the routes. You know where Mary lives, you know where George lives, you know where Tommy lives, you know where
But
Lisa
but
lives.
but Cliff, listen what you're saying.
Mhm.
He was not on the bus. The route that the bus takes, that is not the same as a walking route.
I get that. I get
Okay,
that.
and because my children, they have rode the bus, okay, but at the same time, we don't know how many different areas they went through before they got to him. But see, I want to keep the main thing the main thing. Even if he just asked for directions. He knocked on the door,
Hmm.
but she thought he was breaking in.
Okay.
That he was breaking in. Okay, so that's beyond the bus route. Because what I heard him say, he got up late that morning,
Right.
so that's why he decided to walk to school. And we have to remember, when you walk down the street, and you can go to another area on the bus, but that's not the same route that you're walking. It's not the same route that the bus went to. And
Right.
I do feel like his wife should be responsible because all the information so far that they have gathered came from his own surveillance
Well,
material. Am I correct?
his wife didn't tell him to go get a shotgun and then run out of the house. You can't charge the
Okay, no,
wife.
no, 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 no. That's not what I said. No, no, no. I guess you're mistaken what I'm saying. If you're in a movie theater and you stand up and you holler fire, you might not even run anywhere, but everybody else who runs, it's your fault that it happened. Am I correct?
You
Am I
can't
correct?
you can't charge the
So that's
wife.
basically what she was doing, in
You
my
can,
opinion, because she was hollering. Okay, just think about it. Suppose she had fell in the condo.
Belinda,
We had ran down the steps with a gun because she fell.
Belinda, I'm a criminal
Uh-huh.
defense lawyer. Why you arguing with me about what the
Oh,
law
no,
says can
no,
be
no, no.
charged?
Guess what?
She
I'm
can't.
not
You
arguing with you because
can't
I can't hear you.
You can't charge the wife in this
No, no, no.
case.
No, remember, she's the one that thought he was breaking in, right?
But you can't charge the wife because of her erroneous thought.
Well, her erroneous thought is what brought on this serious matter.
And you can't charge her for that. She had no criminal intent.
You said it wasn't a criminal intent.
She did
when
not
she felt
have.
like he was.
She did not
that
have.
She was making him a criminal.
She did not have any criminal intent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that he had criminal intent because he knocked on her door?
Where would you go with that? What is?
Okay, because remember, it wasn't like he was trying to get in her place. He either rung the doorbell
Nobody's
and
charged him
knocked on the door,
either.
and we do know criminals do that to see if people live in there.
Nobody's charged him either. And
Well,
that's
that's
all,
not what
and
I
that's
said.
all the
Cliff.
more reason why she could have thought that somebody was breaking in. You just said it yourself. You are aware that that is what burglars do. They will ring the doorbell twice, actually, which is exactly what he did. If nobody comes, then they will go in. So if you as a black woman in the city knows that that is the modus operandi or MO of potential would-be burglars, that's exactly what that white woman thought.
Okay, you know what I would did? Okay, wait a moment. You know what I would did? If somebody knocked on my door, I would ask them what they wanted. Okay? I wouldn't go saying that you're trying to break into my house. I would ask them, yes, what do you want? Maybe if she asked him, he could have said he was lost. But she accused him on her own merit.
Okay.
Okay? Now he was a young man. If she would have said, she could have been the meanest voice in the world. She could have said, what do you want? Why are you at my door? He could have said, miss, I'm lost, and I'm trying to get to school. But she brought all of this stuff on herself by saying he was a criminal. Am I right or wrong?
Okay, but she still can't get charged for it. That's the point.
No. What I said, the ethnic intimidation part, when she said we people. Well, let's get back to this again. If somebody knocks on your door or my door, I'm not going to automatically think that they're trying to break in. I'm going to ask them what they want. Okay, and I would tell them if I feel uncomfortable, I'm sorry, honey, keep going.
And that's what
because
you would, and that's what you would do.
Let me explain this to you. Let me say it to you. It was a little boy, centuries ago, over 30 years ago. He came to my front door, and he knocked on the door, and I was afraid to open it because I had a concrete porch, right? I thought someone might have been waiting for me to open the door so they could come in. So I called my neighbor across the street and asked him, did he see anyone else in front of my house? And he said no. And I was able to assist him. But like I said, if she had asked him, what do you want? It wouldn't have never gotten this far.
Why would you expect her to do something you didn't even do?
No.
You just got through telling me stop. You just got through telling me 5 minutes ago.
While she was accusing him.
No.
All she had to do is ask him.
No.
And thank God this young man.
I got to put you on hold so you can actually hear what I have to say. How are you going to expect that white woman in Rochester Hills, who probably doesn't see black people all the time, how are you going to expect her to do something you didn't want to do as a black woman in a black neighborhood with a black boy yourself? You didn't even want to ask out there, who are you or what do you want? You called your neighbor who lived across the street because you were too scared. So what do you think that white woman felt when she saw a black kid who's not normal in her neighborhood? So I don't get it. I don't understand that.
You know what you done did to me today?
Yeah, I did.
I was already upset at the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But for you feeling like a black boy, and her husband worked with black people every day in the city of Detroit, and evidently she lives in the city of Detroit herself, unless they gave wrong addresses. So you're trying to say we're foreign people?
Foreign people? I didn't say foreign
people. No, because
people.
you said you're making an excuse for her. And you're saying...
Of course I'm making an excuse because you did. Belinda, 2 seconds ago, you said you were a black woman afraid of somebody that looked like you standing on your porch.
I said a little boy.
It doesn't matter.
Listen,
That's
Let me
even
tell you
worse.
what
He
time
was
it
a
was, Cliff.
little boy,
I'm gonna
and
tell
you
what
still
time
were
it was.
scared.
It was 10 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Okay, it was 10 o'clock at night, okay?
I gotta
So
take these other two
I
calls.
couldn't understand why a little child would be out like that.
And she didn't understand
Okay,
why a
I tell you what.
14-year-old kid would be at
And I
her
don't
door
care
at
what
9
your
o'clock.
callers say.
I got to take these other two calls. I got to go, Belinda.
Yeah, okay,
All
bye.
right, bye-bye. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards. You're breaking
Hi.
up.
Is that me?
Yep, it's you.
Yes. Thank you for accepting my call.
Sure.
I just wanted to I'm black myself, and I wouldn't open the door for somebody on my porch. I don't this Caucasian lady. I think in this Trump era, we need to teach our children, especially our males, how to protect themselves. Walking up on somebody's porch is something we should not do.
Okay.
It's in the suburbs, and you're not used to a lot of people out in that area. That's one thing to tell your black children, not. And I'll up and listen to your call. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards.
Hey, Cliff, is my call breaking up because the other calls was breaking up?
No, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I heard that the young man's father was serving in the military.
Mm-hmm.
He was overseas somewhere.
Okay, I have not heard
so
that.
Wondering,
Go ahead.
I'm wondering if this family is not from the Detroit area and may have lived in different places around the world, because it's unusual for even black people in the city to go knocking on people's door knowing the climate that we currently are experiencing. You know, you just don't go and knock on people's door and don't think that the other people on the other side of the door is feeling some caution. However, that guy,
you know, but wait a minute, hold it on that
was
though.
rightfully charged because he shouldn't have went out shooting at nobody.
That's true, but do you really think we've gotten to a point where you would have to worry about, even if you're black, even if you're in Rochester Hills, do you really think that that should be first in our minds? If I just simply ring a doorbell, I'm likely to get shot at?
That, or you may be robbed. Yeah, because, you know, technology now, you don't just knock on doors and the other person is not expecting you because people call. Oh, I'm outside. They don't really knock on doors anymore. They call and say, I'm pulling up or stuff like that. That's just kind of where we live in. It's sad. It's really sad. But I know in Detroit, I know a lot of people, they don't knock on doors. And when somebody knocking on the door, they get all suspicious. They're running for gats and bats and everything else. So I'm just wondering if this family is not even from this area, but obviously this is a sign of the times that we live in, and people are uptight about people approaching their property and knocking unannounced.
And that makes it kind of tough. That makes it kind of tough then for Jehovah's Witnesses and politicians who are trying to get elected. I wouldn't want to be either one of them.
Well, they don't do that too much anymore.
All right, man. I got to run. Let me get to one more call before I got to get out of here. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards. You got about 60 seconds.
Mr. Woodard?
Yes.
I've been listening to that woman from Warren, and I thought she was crazy, but now I'm convinced of it. She always giving out wrong information and try to out-talk you, won't even let you tell her the truth. What's wrong with that woman?
Belinda's all right.
Warren, she been, whoo.
Belinda's all right.
Crazy, man.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. I got to get out of here. The phone lines are still lit up. I have run out of time. I appreciated each and every one of you calling, offering your thoughts, opinions, comments, suggestions, and even with Belinda, some criticism. Without all of your participation, it wouldn't be your turn with Cliff Woodwards. Got to give a large thanks really to R.J. Watkins Jr. Without him, I wouldn't be able to sit in this chair each and every week, as well as to R.J. Watkins Sr., because he gives me the opportunity to even to just step foot in the building. Thanks and much shout out to both of the Watkins gentlemen. That's about it for this edition of Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards. I'll be back here next Saturday. As my grandmother used to say, if the good Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. That's a wrap, R.J. Take us on out of here.
You're watching W33BY, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan.